Hi, and thank you so much for joining us today. I am here for London Business News with Eddie Smith, the Head of MSK Services at Six Physio, and they fortunately invited me to come to their lovely studio in Monument. And today we just want to have a little chat about Six Physio, a bit about the business story behind it, but also about their journey and what they offer now today. Thank you so much, Eddie, for taking the time to join.
Pleasure.
So I'm quite curious. I already saw a bit of the studio, and it looks amazing. And you have a lot of different things in there, which we're going to talk about later. The first question I actually have, and I think that will interest a lot of Londoners out there as well, is what are the most common physical issues that people have when they come to your clinic or when they arrange an initial assessment with you? What do you regularly see? What are the most common issues?
Yeah, I mean, very broadly we see anything physical.
Okay.
So particularly where we are in the city now, we'll see anything from a niggling back pain. We see people post-surgery if they've had a knee injury, or we see a surgeon, we'll see them for the rehab. We see a lot of knee injuries, so about 30% of what we see in the city is knee related. And that's a product of exercise, running, some exercise, people picking up new activities, as well as trauma, twists, turns, stuff like that. So back pain, lower limbs, specifically knees, a lot of shoulders. At the moment we're seeing about 10% in the city pelvic health as well, which is a growing space for us.
Pelvic health. So can you tell us a bit more? What kind of issues would that be related to?
So pelvic health we consider as a whole, it's men's health and women's health.
Yeah.
With women's health, it's anything prenatal, postnatal, anything related to birth.
Yeah.
Problems that sometimes go with that. So pain, pelvic girdle pain. We also work with ladies through menopause, and then on the male side for pelvic health, it's anything related to that. So it can include sexual dysfunction, bladder and bowel issues. We do see guys after surgery with prostate issues as well. So quite a broad area for us.
Wow, interesting. Okay.
Really interesting.
Yeah, I didn't have that on the radar at all, but I saw it on your website, obviously, so that's why it's great that you're sharing that with us, because I think when people hear physiotherapy, they probably think mostly of back pain or, things like that, but when I looked at your website, I saw you do hand physio as well, for example, so that leads me to the next question, basically, which was, how do your services evolve, or how do you what was the journey for you? So you have been with Six Physio for 9 years?
Almost
9 years. And maybe from your own experience, you can share with our audience, how does it evolve? How do the different treatments evolve that you offer?
Yeah, definitely. I think physio has a bad case for PR, actually. I think we need a bit more help. So this will help. So I think a lot of people think of when they think of physio is massage, the soft tissue. I've got a sore knot in my shoulder kind of thing. Can you do this? So it's very hands-on, manual in terms of the general consensus. But what we do is much more nuanced, I would say.
Yeah.
So from that musculoskeletal side, we see knees, backs. We see a lot of exercise-based rehabilitation tools. That's what we do. And as you mentioned, our specialist services, whether it's hand therapy, pelvic health, as I mentioned, a little bit more niche, a little bit more specialised, and that's a huge part of what we do now, which has evolved over time. We didn't do those services.
Okay.
Across the group, about 25% of what we now see in terms of patients is specialist services. Used to be 5% actually, just going back 2 years, so quite a change since.
For the last 2 years, that has changed, that has shifted. So you mean like hand physio and pelvic physio, that has evolved in the last 2 years?
It's evolved massively. It's a huge part of what we do. It's a really important part of what we do. It's really specialised. The guys and girls that deliver those services are really highly skilled. Hand seems basic, on a basic level, every physio should be able to deal with a hand problem. It's extremely complex.
Yeah, of course.
So that's been really exciting over the last year particularly, and continues to grow.
Yeah.
And the pelvic health as well, again, is this really specialist area. It's a really underserved area.
Absolutely.
The female side of pelvic health is well served. The male side is not. It's not. Male access to healthcare is poor at best times.
True.
Male access to physiotherapy for pelvic health is much more. Much more difficult. It's a complex area.
Very good point, actually. And I think what's interesting for our audience is how is that influenced by maybe the clients that you see or your patients? Do they share these things with you, or do you have it maybe from your own professional experiences as well? What plays into developing these treatments and services then?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. In short, at the essence, I think we have an entrepreneurial spirit. That's what we do. We're fairly small, less than 100 employees at the moment. We're quite mobile. So I think we have an entrepreneurial spirit where we have passionate people who are interested in specialist areas. And really our growth and our advancement into these specialist areas isn't through extensive market research. It's really based on what our staff bring. So the physios within our team come with passion and experience that they've had elsewhere, and we're really open to bringing that. So we're always looking for new services to service needs that are not met.
That's great news, which leads me also to another question I wanted to ask you, because obviously COVID or the pandemic has been a big challenge for a lot of businesses. We do sadly remember. And as you just mentioned that now, that would be my next question. How did you cope during that time? Because obviously your job is very physical. I mean, I saw you also offer home visits, so maybe you can tell us a bit more about that. But in general, what was your strategy during that time to stay afloat?
Well, if I'm thinking back, we did a lot of quizzes and a lot of baking. Banana bread got us through it. But joking aside, it was a really difficult time for our business, like many businesses. We lost a lot of good people, so about 40% of our staff left during COVID. We downsized, we closed a couple of clinics, we went through a CBA process, so it was quite a difficult time for many people, and quite bleak if you look back, but we've got through, and we're now in a great place. Post-COVID, I hope I can say post. Yeah, I can say post-COVID. So we're doing really well. But at the time, we were key workers at that time, and it was that weird period of categorization. So we were working. I was working here as a physio at that time. I was on my own, coming in, and it was a couple of days a week. There was nobody in the city, so that was it. But we had a great team of physios who kind of pivoted really quickly and did a lot of virtual physio, which didn't exist, or remote physio, I should say. We called it virtual. It was physio. It was just remote. So we had video telehealth. And that got us through, and an interesting time.
Amazing. Well, that's incredible that you managed to, figure out a way to still operate, or at least obviously at a reduced capacity, but you weren't forced to close all your clinics, which is incredible. And as you said, so your borough clinic, you were able to reopen again. And now the demand is even bigger than previously. So that's incredible as well. And I think, that's maybe a message also to any business owner out there, is to not give up and to never say something is impossible, because it clearly shows that if you really want to make something work, you can if you put your resources in.
The right people.
And the right people, obviously.
We're such a people-focused business. The biggest part of what we do is our recruitment, our onboarding. Our culture is, if you spend some time around the clinic, you'll feel it, you'll notice it. It's fantastic. We've got really great people doing great stuff, and I think that's the case. That gives us resilience and adaptability, as you say. So, a bit about your staff then, because you're mentioning that. Are they very involved in, the business side as well, of running the clinic, of offering the treatments? Are they
kind of like managing their own work, or how is it organized in your
so physio as a profession is very autonomous. So we have agency over how they diagnose and deal with patients. Of course, there's a support structure around that. One of the things that we do within the physio space that's very unique, although I think people are probably trying to copy us, is we have a manual and rehab split in our MSK, our musculoskeletal, so those back pain, knee pain, shoulder pain kind of guys.
Okay.
So we'll split and we'll work as a team. So where many physio companies will have somebody in a room on their own looking after patients, they're doing a great job. We try and go to the next level and have experts in different areas within physio.
So the other question that I want to ask you is about obviously the financial aspect, because that's something that people are concerned about, I guess. So when someone comes into your clinic and they want to have an assessment done or something, do you only have private patients that pay privately, or can the funding happen in different ways? What's your approach?
Yeah, it's changed a bit actually. It used to be kind of 50-50 in terms of private paying patients and clients and insurance paid sessions. It's shifted now to about 65% insurance based actually, and even more so in the cities. So we see a big shift. We see less private paying individuals, and we see more people accessing our services through their healthcare provider, our health insurance provider, and that would be everyone. If I can name names, everyone from an AXA, WPA, everybody. We see every insurance company, patients of every insurance company in the city, and a lot of what we're seeing lately, but it definitely a change since COVID, I've noticed, is more people coming through employee benefit schemes through work as well. So all that happening as well.
I see. So their employer would have something set up that would enable them then to claim, for example, a treatment with you.
For sure, and I think probably most of the people watching this on your channels will have that access and maybe not know.
Yeah, exactly. That's
check with HR guys.
Yeah, check with your employer and HR team. Yeah, definitely.
It's a really common benefit in the city. It just gives that accessibility, which is great.
Yeah, and I think a lot of employers are realizing how important physical health is, obviously. Because obviously I am aware that more employers are giving perks, like access to a gym, for example, and things like that. So that would make sense, obviously, because you offer Pilates classes as well. Yeah.
So yes, we offer Pilates, we offer strength and conditioning classes, we offer one-to-one Pilates, which is really popular for people. So we don't have anybody, I would say, without any data to support this, we don't have anybody in a Pilates class that hasn't first access to physiotherapy.
Okay, that's
a testament to their experience actually. So we're not advertising Pilates as a competitor for Pilates Studio. We do small classes of 3 to 1. We do one-to-ones, and they're led by clinicians. They're all led by physiotherapists in the city as well. So they are generally for people who've had a problem at one point and are looking to perform or stay healthy during maintenance, and they want to have that expert guidance around staying injury-free and on performance, which is something we do really well.
Yeah, that's incredible. So that's really interesting to know as well, because I guess there are tons of Pilates and yoga classes out there. But I think what you offer is quite unique in that sense, because people will then have a connection to the Pilates exercises that they actually do and how they help their issue, and in future how they can resolve that with those exercises.
Yeah, and it's great for it's generally great for class. It's a small class, 3 one-to-ones, and they're really popular in the city as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. Lovely. Okay, great. So I think one last question I have for you is, do you have any expert tips? Because you, as you said, you have a lot of experience now working with Six Physio in the city. You know obviously about the different clinics here. Do you have any expert tips for business owners in London, or maybe also people who are interested in starting something, especially in your industry, in your expert field, that would help them maybe to think about that in the future, or if they've already started something, whatever it is, any tips, any hacks, anything that you can reveal?
How to become one of our competitors, or how to put us out of business, is that
or I mean, maybe also for maybe people who work in your field, any tips?
I think the number one tip is the right people. I think the most important thing that we do is our clinics are trained on. We are absolutely people centered. We're dealing with public, with members of the public. We have to have passionate people who are well qualified, but they're good people doing work. I think without that, I think that's going to transfer across any industry. I don't think that's a great hack or a great tip, but I think it's just look after your people. Make sure you're doing the right by your teams. Make sure it's a great place to work. People want to be here. Our biggest recruitment drive actually is from people telling friends to come and join us. And that's great. We don't have to spend a ton of money on advertising. We know what we're getting. People come through. It's a great review for us. It's a great with the confidence. So look after your people. And make sure that you've got good people coming through the door.
Yeah, that's lovely. Wow, well, I think we had some great insights here from Eddie. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Absolute pleasure.
And I'm really excited now to see a bit more about your clinic, and we'll share that later with you. So thank you for joining us.
No, thanks a lot.